You ready?
Yeah. Good.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Erik Centeno. What's up, man?
Good, man. How are you?
How long you been in Atlanta?
Like 2 years and a half now.
How you liking it so far?
It's good. Yeah, it's just hard being away from family and stuff.
Yeah,
but
you're like all the way.
Yeah, it's all the way on
across
the
world.
other side of the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
you know what? Sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot to turn on the camera.
Yeah, California's far. And the time difference and everything
Yeah,
too.
3 hours, bro.
Yeah, especially like if you want to speak to family back home.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too hard, but,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just pretend like that didn't happen.
Are we doing three headshots for this one?
No, so here's what we're doing. And so everyone's going to get the visual.
I
at
saw
home.
this one was
We're going to get the wide shot here
Okay,
of me
nice.
and him. Sorry, I can't include you, but then there's a close-up of you, then there's a close-up
all
of
right,
him.
perfect. It's perfect.
If you want to see, that's the close-up of you. That's the close-up of him, and then that's going to be the both of us.
All right, cool.
And it's just to kind of like keep things kind of flowing. And so, yeah. This is super casual. So that mess up, that whole thing, going to be included. I'm going to drop it right in there.
No point in taking it out.
So, yeah, you've been in Atlanta for 2 years now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like 2 years and a half.
Do you like the city?
Yeah, bro, I like the city a lot, actually.
Yeah?
It's really different from where I'm from because I'm
Yeah.
from Stockton, so it's really small compared to, Atlanta.
How small is it?
It's really
Not as big as Atlanta.
No, not even close, bro.
You guys
no.
are like how far away from Sacramento? Like an hour?
Like an
A little
hour,
north?
like an hour away from Stockton.
How far are you guys? How close are you guys to Oakland?
Oakland? I was actually born in Oakland. It's like
You were born in Oakland?
Yeah, it's like an hour and 15.
I've heard the craziest things about Oakland. I've heard
Like what,
Oakland's
like bad stuff?
yeah.
Nah,
I've heard it's
yeah,
like a war zone over there.
Yeah, it's pretty ghetto.
I had-
but
I had
so
a-
is Stockton, to be fair.
So is Stockton
yeah,
too.
so is Stockton, bro.
I feel like California's just a free for all. Like I had a teammate, and he was telling me that on one away trip he had last year that he walked to a Starbucks from the team hotel when they were playing the Oakland Roots, and he walked to a Starbucks. They went inside, and then next thing you know, like all the people are looking outside, and then one of the workers at Starbucks was like, "Oh, here we go again. They're breaking in," and
No
then he
way.
saw like these two people with masks just shattering windows and just grabbing anything they could find, and people were just like, "Oh, like here we go," like it was normal.
No,
And I
yeah,
was like,
Oakland's pretty
what?
bad, bro.
Have
Yeah.
you ever experienced anything
I've
like
never
that? Like,
seen
were you
it.
witnessed
Where I've
it
seen it in
firsthand?
person, no, I've never.
No, me neither.
But I hear in California it's bad. I hear in California you can't leave anything in your car. Like everything, just you have to. If you're gonna leave something in the car, like just take it with you. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah.
lock. But even if you lock it, doesn't matter. People just smash the windows and they
Exactly,
go in.
bro. Mm-hmm.
Nah, that's crazy.
How do you grow up playing soccer there? Is it?
Nah, there's a lot of soccer there, like a lot of little leagues. Like I started playing like in a little Hispanic league called Jarritos, bro.
Oh, jarritos.
Yeah, that's what it was called. So
Like the drink?
yeah, that's what they would call it.
Yeah.
The league. It was like a little Hispanic league.
Yeah.
That's how I started.
Okay, they have a big soccer scene though. There's a lot of balls that come out of California.
Yeah, especially in California, bro. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of Hispanics there.
What? How did you get into it to begin with?
Bro, honestly, I would start seeing my older brother play. And you know what's crazy? At first, I didn't even want to play, like, because they had a little younger team my
Yeah.
age, and they would always be like, oh, like, come play with us. And I was like, nah, I don't want to play. And then I started actually, like, playing in preschool. That's when I started, like, liking it. And then that's after that I joined the team. But it's crazy because I didn't even want to play at first, bro. When I would see my older brother, I was like, nah, I don't want to play.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then how long were you there in Jarritos for? Like, what other youth club? What other
Bro,
youth club teams did you join?
I played there until, like, I was 12, but at that time I was already playing competitive. So I was, so I would play a Jarritos game and then run to my competitive game,
your
bro.
club
My
team?
let's go, but you're gonna be late.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro.
Do you think the two kind of helped you out? But having one, there's a certain way you play in
the
that kind of
Hispanic league.
yeah. In the
No,
Hispanic
yeah,
league.
of course.
environment.
And then there's a certain way in the more structured, more
more competitive.
yeah.
There's better players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you got to be careful in those Hispanic leagues.
No, yeah.
'cause they
Good thing
be-
nothing happened, bro.
Yeah.
Because we were kids at the time. So,
Yeah. No, I remember when I would so I was playing in like club environments here in Atlanta,
Yeah.
and then I had a buddy of mine who was Mexican, and so he was like, "Hey man, you gotta come with me like on the weekends. Sunday we play indoor or play like bean league, what they call it." And then so I went out there
What
for
do
the
they call
first
it?
time.
Bean
Bean league. They
league.
call it
Yeah,
bean
yeah.
league. They call
No,
it bean league, bro.
But that's
call it bean
when they're
league.
older like that,
When
they're
they-
super dirty, bro.
They're
Like you gotta
dirty.
you gotta be
And he
careful.
told me too. My friend told me, he was like, "Bro, listen." He was like, "They're gonna see that you're good, and you're gonna go up
You get
against some
mad,
like
bro.
40-year-old, and he's
Yeah.
gonna get mad because he's gonna see that you're good, and he's gonna be like, man, I'm gonna f this kid up." And he was like, "When you have the ball, if you see him coming at you, pass it. Don't go into tackles. Don't go into nothing." He was like, "You
That's
don't want to
true,
break
bro.
your leg playing like
Yeah,
this because those older men, they don't care.
They
bro.
get mad, bro. If you shake them, they
That's-
get pissed and try to tackle
that thing
you
is
and stuff.
life or death for them.
No, yeah,
that kind of
yeah,
game is
true.
life or death for them.
Do me a
Yeah.
favor. Pull your thing down just a little bit because it's kind of in the way of the camera.
Better.
Kind of.
Oh, that's there.
Maybe like right there. There you go.
Yeah, that thing is life or
Yeah.
death right there. Yeah.
I played in adult leagues for a long time, but it was mostly just American guys. But we used to play. So it started with I don't know if you're familiar with the Silverbacks Park.
Bro, I've heard of it. Everyone's always there, like,
Yeah.
right?
You
Yeah.
haven't been there yet?
I've never been there, but I see pictures of it.
You should
It's
just go
nice.
check it out. Because if you want to take a snapshot of what the soccer scene is in Atlanta, I think that's the
Silverbacks,
best
yeah.
place to kind of.
That's like
look for
Sunday
it.
League. That's the place
yeah,
there. Play
but
Sunday
It's
League, right?
every day there's
There's things.
every-
Yeah.
Like
I wanna
every
say
night
it's-
and stuff. They're playing.
I want to say it's every night
night,
they've
yeah,
got
they got co-ed, they got everything.
Yeah,
For real?
everything. I
Yeah.
played there for a few years. The only problem is that the turf. I don't know if they've redone it since I played, and it's been a while since I played. But the turf has always been because they let whenever there's a game like a Silverbacks game, or I don't know what the rugby team is, but the rugby team that plays there, they let you park, or at least they did. I don't know about anymore, but they let you park on the fields, like the crap fields. It was just extra parking
On the
space.
field.
Yeah. No, they redid them.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they redid them.
when
When you
I sound like an old
how
man.
long- yeah.
when I played, it was like playing on carpet, like hard carpet, like AstroTurf.
Mhm.
I don't know if you even know what AstroTurf is.
No, I don't.
AstroTurf. So back in the day, like there were baseball fields. It's basically like so this carpet here. Imagine playing on this.
Oh, nah.
It was like that, like indoor
Yeah,
indoor
yeah.
turf.
You can't wear cleats. You can't wear cleats.
You
at that
can't
point.
wear cleats, nothing. And so it's
too hard.
The turf. I want to say this was like 5-6 years ago. Was that hard? It was you could wear cleats, but you didn't need to because it was you could wear indoor shoes. and you'd
Indoor
be fine.
shoes, yeah.
Anyways, the whole reason I bring that up is because, if you want a snapshot of what the Atlanta soccer scene looks like for people that play and are active and want to relive the glory days of either high school soccer, college,
Yeah.
whatever, that's where it is. Every day of the week, up until like 11 o'clock is when, if you go through, you know where Spaghetti Junction is?
No.
So
You
85,
probably
285.
driven it.
Maybe.
The highway that has like a bunch of they call it spaghetti
Overpasses.
because it just looks like a bunch of noodles that are around it. But Silverbacks is right there. Nah, you probably haven't been on that side of town. But
Is
yeah,
it
it's-
Lawrenceville? Is that where it's at?
It's like I mean
near
it's
over
in-
there.
it's
that
in
way,
Stormville.
going that
Yeah.
way.
Where do you live now?
In right here in.
you live by
I live by the Brave Stadium.
by the Brave Stadium.
Oh,
He's
Cobb
in Shea
County?
by- yeah, he's in Cobb County.
Smyrna.
Yeah.
Yeah, so opposite side, in the perimeter, it's the opposite side. But anyways, 11 o'clock, you'll see lights still on for games that are actively being played.
Yeah.
Just adult league games.
It's a big, and there'll be some good ballers there too.
Yeah, yeah.
Like guys that play D1. And
Bro, there's
and
always
they'll be
good
out there.
players in Sunday League,
There's
bro.
always good players.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm in the off season, so when I was playing, when I
Mhm.
go in the off season, there was a group, there was a team that would always be like, "Yo, whenever you're
play.
in town, like come play," and I always come play. And it's a good level, 77, good workout. Obviously, you gotta be careful, you know.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
don't want to get into.
I think they also have.
And they play the Bean League tournaments, the cash money tournaments.
bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was in the off season and I played the Ronaldinho Cup. I think they still have it at Silverbacks, and it was like a $120K tournament. And this guy reached out to me. He DM'd me on Instagram, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to play in this tournament? Like, we'll pay you to come out and play." So I was like, "Yeah." It was the first time I did it, but bro, the thing's intense because you play.
No, yeah, bro.
You play like 3
Those
games
guys-
a day, like 8 a.m., like 1 p.m., and then like 5 p.m. And it's
Yeah.
like I think the games are like 50 minutes, like 25-minute halves, but it's intense because
No, there's a lot of tournaments like that over there in Cali.
In
bro.
Cali,
Trust
I'm
me,
sure
yeah.
there's a lot of cash
lot
money
of 'em.
tournaments, and they fly out players from like Central
Yeah, they bring
America,
pros
South
from
America,
everywhere,
Mexico,
bro. Yeah, yeah.
And like, so you're playing
No,
against
yeah,
like
it's
good
legit, bro.
players.
Yeah,
It's legit
there's some good
players.
players,
And people
yeah.
be going hard in those
No, yeah,
tournaments.
for sure, bro. They have nothing to lose. Some of those guys
I know.
just do that
but
for fun, you know.
but a lot of people make their living off that too.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of guys like they just
Get
go
paid
around
off
the world.
the-
they just go around the country and they just play in these
Play those
tournaments, and then
tournaments,
they get this
make the money,
600, a grand each tournament,
crazy, bro.
and they just go around. They play those tournaments, and they're
Yeah.
known for them,
Mhm.
And so, yeah, Silverbacks, they do it good.
I brought that up. Here's why I brought that up, because there was always a difference between. I eventually moved into a 11-on-11 like full field league.
Yeah.
And there was the American teams that were stacked with like ex-college players, and then there was the Hispanic teams that were just on another level, and we just could not compete.
That's funny.
But you're Uruguayan. I don't know why you weren't on the
Because I don't
Hispanic
look
side.
Uruguayan.
Hispanic team.
Ah,
I don't look
That is
Uruguayan.
true.
You're
I'm
like,
also-
man, I
I'm
gotta be
also-
on this side.
I'm also at the time I was out of shape. And it's a whole thing, man. It's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for coming on, man.
I
What's
appreciate
been
you guys.
going on with you lately?
Nothing much, bro. Trying to play the best I can this season. That's about it, man.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Playing the best you can. What does that mean?
playing as much as I can. You know, trying to get as much assists as I can because I've been playing usually mainly right back this season. So
You're naturally a winger, right?
you know what, bro? I grew up playing right back in the academy.
Oh, really?
Yes,
so you
and
have experience in that
sometimes
position.
and sometimes I would play winger, but more right back, bro. But since I played in college, I played winger, and I've been more of a winger ever since I got drafted to Atlanta.
Do you think like you're obviously it's good to be to be able to play in multiple positions because it gives you a better chance to play. You know, if a coach needs you at the winger, if he needs you at right back, it gives you a better chance to play. But do you think like if you had to pick your best position, like a coach is like, hey, a new coach comes in, is like, hey, what's your best position? You're like, oh, it's gonna be right back, or you're like, no, it's gonna be right wing, left wing, or you don't know?
I think at the highest level, I would be better as a right back.
Yeah.
But I would like to play probably winger.
Yeah.
More.
What position did you play in college?
Left winger, right winger.
You played left winger, right winger. So it wasn't until you
Both
turned pro
sides.
when you transitioned into right back.
Yeah, I was just mainly more on the right side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I guess the only difference is really the defensive responsibility that you have when you transition from like winger to outside back.
Yeah,
because
obviously definitely more running too, bro. Because when you overlap, you gotta track back, bro, and you got a fast guy on your side.
Because when you're playing winger, for the most part, you don't got to track all the way back.
You're chilling,
you give that 50% jog.
Exactly, bro.
Oh my god. Bro, I would have so many teammates, man. Like, especially like the African teammates that had the Jamaican guys, they did not want to track back, man.
Really, bro?
Yeah, I would have the midfield.
Those guys are usually the fastest.
Nah, man. I mean, I had some that like I would have to get on them. I'd be like, hey, track back, because they'd lose the ball, and then everyone is making a 50-yard recovery back, and then these guys are just kind of just chilling, and then they get the ball again, they cut in, they score, and then it's like, oh, they're a hero.
You can't even get mad.
You can't even get mad at that point,
true,
because they get all the glory in that sense.
Is that a position that you saw yourself kind of becoming a pro in? Like, is that
right back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or did you grow up like thinking, no, I'm gonna be?
It's just because as a winger you have to score more, produce more, and then usually it's harder to play because I feel like they bring a lot of internationals and stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like attacking players. So
yeah.
I feel like right back would, and I think I'm pretty good defensively too to play right back.
I think from what I've seen, outside back, I mean, I'm not going to say it's the easiest position, but outside back is like definitely a position where you can break in.
Yeah.
You have
I think it's the easiest position to break in, bro.
Yeah, I think especially American players, because these MLS teams, I feel like they spend a lot of money on these attacking players because that's the ones that they want to bring in. Yep. And I feel like I've seen a trend where a lot of more American players or players that come out of college is they make their name through outside back, and then once they make their name there in outside back, then they venture off into different positions because the coach is like, oh, actually this guy's good, I can put him here, and then I feel like I've seen that. The outside back can be
even in the Liga MX, bro. I feel like there's the extranjeros, the foreign players are usually always wingers.
Always wingers, yeah.
And the players that break in are usually the outside backs.
The outside backs,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Underrated position. So when did you? So you were playing club soccer in California. When did you start playing with Sacramento Republic?
So I played pretty much like club until I was 13, and then I think I was like a 8th grader when I started playing for Sac Republic.
And were they a USL team at this time?
Yeah, they're the USL team this whole time. Yeah, exactly.
And then so you were there for how long at Sacramento?
Oof, I was there for like 5 years, I think. 5 years in the academy, bro.
And then did you have?
And then my senior year, I went to FC Dallas Academy for a season.
What was that about? They reached out to you to go over there to FC Dallas.
The thing is, I had a coach. His name is Mikey Varas. He's gonna be the coach for the first team for the national team, because they're gonna get a new coach, right? They're gonna
Pochettino. You're talking about the senior team.
Yeah, so he's gonna coach like the 2 next games while Pochettino comes.
The interim
Mikey
coach,
Varas.
Mikey Varas. I've heard that name.
He's assistant right now for the first team for USA. But he was my coach at Sac Republic. For 1 year, bro, when I was like 14.
He was your club coach?
No, at Sac Republic. My second year at Sac Republic, he was my coach there.
Oh, okay.
And so yeah, like I always kept in contact with him because after that year he went to Dallas. After that year, so I always kept in contact with him. And then a couple years later, he took me over there to FC Dallas.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm curious. How did Sacramento Republic how do you come to be a part of their program?
I feel like there's a lot of scouting in the area, in that like Northern California region.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you're doing good stuff and playing well and you like sobresales, how do you say it in English? like you kind of stand out.
Yeah.
I feel like
yeah.
you'll eventually get like a invitation to go train with them or whatever it may be.
Is that a kind of thing where if a kid gets reached out to from Sacramento Republic, everyone wants to be there? Like
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of
In the area,
that
yeah, it's
Sacramento,
always
Stockton
either
area?
Sac Republic or Earthquakes.
Because I was going to say San
Exactly,
Jose is
but
right there,
Earthquakes
too,
is a little farther because it's in the Bay and there's so much traffic going that way. So I feel like it's more difficult. So I think Sac Republic is better for the players more in the Valley.
And at that time when you were there, did they have like a pretty good transition from the youth team to get into that first team environment, or was it not a lot?
I
of
feel
kids
like
were
it's.
breaking at that
And I
point?
feel like no, bro. There's been so many good players from the
That
Sac
came out of
Republic.
that, yeah.
Yes, exactly. There's been so many good players that were never able to
Yeah.
break in, and I think it's because since they're a USL team, they don't have that much budget to
Yeah.
compared to like MLS team where
Yeah.
let me give you a homegrown
yeah.
and because they have
Yeah.
more money. But
Well, because in USL they do these USL academy contracts.
I signed one of those too, bro.
But that's not you're not paid.
no,
like,
you're not
just-
paid.
just
You
a-
keep your college
you keep your
eligibility.
college eligibility.
Yeah.
But
Was that important to you at the time?
I wanted to sign like a real deal, because
with Sac Republic.
yeah, my dream was I want to be a pro, like
Yeah.
whatever it may be. But things worked out.
Yeah, obviously. you know.
Everyone has their own
Yeah.
path, bro. Like they didn't sign me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to college, and that university I went to is in Stockton, so like it's literally my backyard, bro.
Really?
Like it's super
University of the Pacific.
close. Yeah, University of Pacific. So I went there for like 5 months, bro. I went.
Saw
Did you even go to class?
Yeah,
He was in and out. He
I
was
would
in
I
and
would
out.
not go to class sometimes, but bro, I went there for 5 months.
Well, hold on. Let me. You only went for 5 months, but did you know you were only going to be there for 5 months?
No, I
okay.
did not.
So
Okay, I
you
did
still
not.
needed to
It's
go to
crazy.
class.
Yeah. So I went for 5 months, and
Did you have a full ride going into that?
yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay.
why I was like, okay, I didn't go pro, but
Yeah.
still getting my school paid for,
Yeah.
and like all the sacrifices my parents made for me to at least like do this is super good still. Like
Of course.
you know what I
Yeah,
mean,
of
bro?
course.
Like, but
course.
I always wanted to be a pro. But
Yeah.
at that point, I was like, what? I didn't make it. I'm gonna go to college and get my education paid for, whatever it may be, and it's still D1 soccer, like
Yeah. But did you have like I still want to go pro when you went to college, or was it, you went to college and you're like it's done? Kind of in your
the
head. your
coach
mindset.
there, Adam Reeves, really good coach and friend of mine. He was like, you're gonna come here. Like I guarantee you that you're gonna go pro. I don't know if it's in 1 year, in 2 years, or 3 years,
Okay.
but I like I really think you're gonna go pro.
Yeah.
So just come here, get your school done, play good, and you will see what happens. And it's crazy, bro. I went there 5 months. I had a really good freshman year, bro, and I went to the
Don't be
MLS
shy.
the MLS Combine.
No, hold on. Don't be
Yeah,
shy.
yeah.
You won the Freshman of the Year award.
Yeah, freshman of the
Yeah,
year.
First
award.
team all West
Yeah,
Coast Conference.
Yeah, all that stuff.
The goals and assists too and everything.
Yeah, bro. I had the most goals and assists on the team. So, and then as a freshman, I feel like you get more eyes on you because he's a freshman,
Yeah.
So I had a
Yeah.
really good year, crazy year, bro. And then I get invited to the MLS Combine. I was like one of the youngest players at the Combine, and I did
Yeah.
really well there. And then that's when they offered me the Generation Adidas contract.
But so let's backtrack real quick. So you go to FC Dallas though for that last year, right?
Exactly,
Before you
yeah.
go to college.
Yes.
Because the previous coach that you had at Sac Republic reaches out to you, he's like, hey, we want you to come and play for FC Dallas.
Yeah.
Because they have a really good academy.
And I went there with the
Intention to sign?
Sign with North
Oh,
Texas. I was like,
okay.
because I'm not gonna go pro here. I'm gonna go try and be pro over there.
Okay.
And
he was an academy coach at FC Dallas.
No, he was already assistant coach for the first team at that time.
Oh, of FC
Coach
Dallas'
Mikey
first
Vares.
team.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So then he was like, hey, come here to FC Dallas, play with the academy for a year, and then maybe, if you do well.
if you do well in North
then they're
Texas, we'll see.
okay,
Exactly.
Okay.
And
how did
I
it go
feel like
that
FC
year?
Dallas has always had a really good program, bro.
They bring up the players that they have.
The academy is
system
unreal,
they have,
bro.
Weston McKennie, Paxton Palmicall,
All
Chris
those
Richards, Reggie Cannon. Like FC Dallas is like.
Bro. Cannon
I feel like-
Acosta.
oh my
bro,
God.
Ballers.
I feel like FC Dallas has their academy is probably like the best in the country.
They
get a
produced the
lot of-
most.
they get a
Tanner
lot of
Tessman
players
too.
out there.
Tanner Tessman, you know
Yeah.
who that is? All those
Tanner
players.
Tessman, yeah.
Ballers,
they
bro.
have a good. So how did that year go in FC Dallas?
So I was doing well, bro. But you know what? It was COVID year that year. So my season got cut short. So I
Yeah.
go back home, and you know what? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play like a couple more months with Sac Republic. So I took a gap year at Sac Republic. One more year before, because when I went to Dallas, Sac Republic kept telling me, "Oh, come back. We're gonna sign you, this and that."
Really?
Yeah. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back. And I play there for a couple more months, and nothing happens. I don't get offered anything. I just signed the academy contract.
The academy contract.
Yeah.
So you were training with the first team.
Yeah, I was
Were you
training with the
rostering
first
at
team.
times?
No. Just
You
training.
didn't make one appearance
No.
with the first team.
No, at that time, no. So I was just training with the first team, So nothing happens again after that. So, okay, that's when I decided, I'm going to go to college.
Yeah.
I'm curious, up until that point, what step in your rise to being a pro, what step was the best? Not the best. What step helped you get to where you are now the most?
Yeah, like that you look back on.
And we're not, it's not to disparage any of the programs. It's just which one helped you get like across, over the bar in terms of becoming a pro?
Probably, you know what? I think what helped me a lot was being away from my family at such a young age at Dallas.
Yeah.
I feel like there was hard times, because I remember sometimes, because obviously I didn't have money at the time, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I would tell my mom, "Oh, Mom, can you send me some money so I can eat?" Because they would only give us dinner at that time. So I would be hungry, after
They'd
training.
only give you dinner.
Only dinner at that
But
time.
you didn't have family or anything out there.
No, I was by myself. I was living in Casa Club with like a couple other players there.
So what would you do for breakfast and lunch?
I think sometimes they had fruit at the
Find
locker
a way.
room.
Find a way.
Yeah,
Find a
bro.
way.
And I didn't have money.
Crazy. If
I
you're
didn't.
16, 17 years
Yeah, I
old.
was
It's
like,
not like
I was
you,
17, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I didn't have much money at the time, so I remember I would tell my mom, "Oh, Ma, like, can you send me some money to eat?" And now looking back at it, bro, it's crazy because my mom she like cleans houses and stuff. So looking back at it, I'm like, dang, like she would go clean houses, work, like that's not a good job, And she would send me the money right away. So I just think about it like, dang, bro, like, and she never like, oh no, like, right away, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to the bank and I'll send you some money. Be like $60-$70. And now I'm looking back at it, I'm like, dang, bro, she would go work and then just to send it to me right away, go clean other people's bathrooms. It's I'm super grateful, for my family.
And that probably changed your perspective too, to be like, man, I want to make it. Like,
exactly,
for you
bro.
being like, I know the sacrifice that my mom makes. Like, I gotta pay that off to her.
Yeah,
like,
bro, because my parents came to this country for us to have better lives. They came from Mexico. So seeing my dad, work a lot and wake up every morning. I mean, still to this day, he still does it. He wakes up at 4 a.m. to go work construction. You got to be grateful for what they do, bro. So
yeah, that's what's up.
Is it seeing where you are now? Are your parents kind of like, yeah,
super proud, man? It's probably the best feeling, but I got to still do more.
Yeah. Have they been here to Atlanta?
Yeah, they've came a couple times.
They like it here?
Bro. Yeah, they like it.
They like it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah, bro.
Up until that point, so before you even go to college, what is there something that you thought was like this is the difference between, in your mind, the either the training or the everyday or the prep to becoming to eventually getting to the professional level? Was there something that you did that maybe stood out from everyone else, or that was different, or was it training more than everybody else? Like, what was it?
I think, in college, because I feel like everyone in college was super focused on parties and all this and that,
Yeah.
You know how it is in college, man.
Well, I never got the experience, but I mean,
it's usually like partying, smoking, drinking,
Uh-huh.
all the temptations.
It's easy to get caught up in that stuff.
Super, bro. So me, since I was living at home, like I didn't really pay attention to that. I would go train, go to my classes, and go home. And I was just super focused on having a super like good season. I didn't really like pay attention to that. So I feel like that really helped me not getting distracted by any of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I never thought about that because you were that school was right where your home was.
Yeah, bro. So I was living at home at the time.
You weren't living in a dorm or anything like that,
bro.
with other guys or anything like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting, man. Because I didn't go the college route, but I always like wondered, like, man, if I went back in time, like if I
it would have been maybe different.
Would it went different? How would it went?
Bro.
But not even if it would have went different, but just to have that experience to see it. Like because I always see things in movies like the college life, house party, fraternity party, all that kind of stuff. And
First
like,
of all, what you see in the movies is way over.
It's way over.
Bro, I was watching the Kobe documentary, bro, and he was talking about like, he went pro super early, went to the Lakers, obviously. That when he was super young, and he wasn't playing when he first got to the Lakers. That he would drive around UCLA and been like, oh wow, like imagine how different it would have been if I would have been just having fun at UCLA. But no, I'm here at Lakers, struggling, not playing much. But I think that's crazy.
But it's still sacrifices, bro, that ultimately make you better.
Exactly,
because. We all see it. We all know a lot of players that have a lot of talent, but once you go down the wrong path, you get involved in the wrong things. It's really easy for your career to take a quick left, and then you get involved in the wrong things.
Yeah.
Or, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, and then next thing you know, you're caught up with whatever it might be. So I think that's another obstacle that college players definitely have.
Yeah.
Is like being able to handle that, being able to go to school, being able to train, distractions,
exactly.
Not just the party scene, the girls, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of good players that go to college and then just, die out there, don't really, take the next step.
Yeah.
Do you look back at the FC Dallas days, being kind of by yourself, being kind of like responsible for yourself, and did that translate to going to college? And then even now, as a pro, being out here by yourself, is there I don't want to say culture shock, but it was like is there a shock in the sense of like, oh man, now I'm on my own? You don't have that now. Not as much, at least.
At first I did it because I'm super of a family person, So once I moved here, everything really changed for me, and then life starts to hit you because you got to start. You have responsibilities now. You have bills. You got to take care of all of that now. Yeah. So it's a big change in my opinion. At the beginning, it was at least. Yeah. Now I'm more used to it now, but
yeah, it's tough. The professional soccer is any professional sport, but it's a really lonely life because once you have that support and from everyone with you, growing up and when you're trying to make it, then once you make it, everyone can't come with you. And then eventually you're just kind of thrown out there and you got to survive. Exactly. So, if you sign your first contract, you're thrown out there and, you're with the Wolves at that point. You just got to survive. You got to train.
It's cruel,
and if you don't make it, it sucks, but they're moving on right away. And so it's tough. It definitely is. I experienced the same thing. So when I went pro at 17, I moved to Belgium. And I remember my agent told me at the time, he was joking around with me, but he was being serious. And he was like, when that plane lands in Belgium, that's when it's going to hit you. He's going to be like, you're going to be by yourself. And that's when it hit. And I still remember that plane landed, and I'm here, and I'm like, man, okay. And the first couple months were fine because you're going through preseason, and you're kind of just in that zone, and you're not thinking about anything else. Then once preseason ends, you have a little more downtime. You're not training 2 a days. You have a little bit of downtime. You're looking on your phone, social media, what's everyone doing back home. And then that's when it kind of hits you. You're like, man, I'm actually here right now. Yeah. 7-hour time difference.
You're a pro.
You're a pro.
Yeah.
I remember
you made it. This is making it.
But then you're like, but this doesn't even feel good. At a certain point, you're like, man, does this even feel good?
Bro, I would have moments where the first time I left, I remember. So that night I got drafted, right? I was super happy, but then at night it started hitting me like, oh wow, I'm about to leave home tomorrow. Yeah. Or I think in 2 days. I left 2 days after the draft.
And it's quick too. You sign in this boom, you got to be on a plane.
2 days after that, I'm like, so I was kind of sad, and I'm like, I start thinking oh wow, I'm about to leave, bro. And I remember that first time, when I said bye to my family, and I was going on that plane, bro, I started tearing up crazy, bro. Because that feeling is crazy, man.
It is a tough feeling. I remember going through that same exact thing. When I left to Belgium, my parents, my whole family, they went to Colombia on a family trip. Oof. And it was actually really funny because they had planned that trip, and I signed in Belgium, and I had to report in for a preseason start date. You know how mom, I don't know if your mom's the same way. My mom is she's kind of clueless in the soccer world. She supports and she knows it, but she doesn't understand the logistics of how everything works. Yeah. So I signed my contract. They had this Colombia family trip planned. And she tells me, she goes, my preseason was in the middle of that trip. So she was like, just talk to the club. Maybe they'll let you stay a week later, and then you'll go on a week later preseason. I'm like, that's not how it works. I'm an 18-year-old rookie, signed my first deal, and you're telling me I'm going to tell the head coach, hey, coach, sorry, I can't report in for the first day of preseason. I'm going to come in a week later. I'm like, it's not how it works.
Yeah, you know what's funny? His mom desperately wanted him to go to college.
Really, bro?
Yeah. I remember having conversations with her about where I had to almost try to convince her that listen, if he can go pro, he can always do college later. Yeah, he can always figure it out later. It's not going to be the end of the world if he doesn't go to college right out of high school. It's just because
she came from Colombia, where her dad pushed you guys need to go to the U.S. and you guys need to go to college because there's not a life here. So her dad was born in the United States, but he was getting into trouble. He was born in New York. Oh. My grandfather, he was getting into trouble, so he got sent back home to Colombia, and then he's pretty much stayed there for his life. Married my grandmother, and then when he had my mom and her sister and her brother, he was like, you guys can't be like me. You guys can't be screw ups. You guys gotta, graduate school here. get a scholarship and go to the United States and make your living there, because here is nothing. Like, no money, like, you need to go over there.
It's hard, yeah.
So she comes from that background of, like, got to go to college, got to do the traditional, the traditional thing. So that was a tough break for her, when I decided not to go that college route. And mine was a little bit different, too, because, like, my eligibility was gone at 16 because I signed an Adidas deal at 16.
Really?
So I was making money from Adidas, so that just killed my
That's crazy.
killed my my college eligibility. So like from a pretty early point, that's when I was
I guess that makes it easier for you.
That decision was kind of made quick. And then, I mean, thinking back on it, I didn't think about it at the time, but thinking back, I was like, man, that's risky because, at 16, I like pretty much put all my cards on the table right there to become pro.
Going pro,
and then, let's say it didn't work out, 17, 18, I didn't become pro, and I'm like, man, I just lost my college eligibility. I could have went to school for free, could have gotten an education. If I didn't go pro, at least I got an education. So looking back on it, I'm like, man, that's kind of crazy. But I guess it all worked out in the end.
Everything happens for a reason.
Ultimate betting on yourself. Did you ever have any those discussions with your parents about going pro or staying in college or anything like that? Or was it just kind of like, hey, babe, we got this chance, let's do it?
I feel like my mom always supported whatever I wanted to do.
Yeah, that's good.
But I feel like she knew that my dream was to play professional, so she wanted that for me too. She didn't really go to college too much,
Do you have that? I know a lot of guys, like when they sign for a school and then they leave like a year and 2 years in, that they can go back and their scholarship's still there to go back to school. Do you have something like that in there or no?
So yeah, that generation Adidas, they finish paying your school for you. But not necessarily at University of Pacific.
Okay.
So it's like a specific school that you have to do it at.
Is that whenever
you can do it online? Yeah, you can do it online.
Go back.
Yeah,
so 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line.
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not completely sure, but I think so.
Yeah,
but I never really.
Did you not do that?
No. So actually, let's talk about that because it's interesting. So you signed Generation. So I'm not fully aware of it, but Generation Adidas is like something that only like a certain amount of guys get in the draft. It's like what, like 6 players?
Yeah, it varies. I don't think there's a number on it.
Oh, so there's
it's usually a couple players
so
only a year.
Adidas handpicks these players.
It's like the MLS, the
MLS,
league.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're picking these players.
But they can't be seniors. So it's only juniors, sophomores, and freshmen. Yeah.
But so Adidas picks these players, and basically when they get drafted, they're guaranteed contracts.
Yeah, they're guaranteed contracts.
Okay. Because
basically they get paid by the league.
Okay.
Instead of the team paying for them. So that's why I feel like it's not too risky for the team that's drafting them because it's the league's paying them,
So when did that happen when did Generation Adidas reach out to you to be like, hey, we're gonna pick you to be a player? How does that whole process work?
So I was already working with an agent at that time.
Okay.
And like a couple of days after the combine is when the talks start coming and I think you might get one, and then I remember.
So it's not like something they talk about in advance. It's like right then and there.
No, after the combine usually, unless you're a player that's really known in the college, you kind of know you're gonna get one.
Yeah.
But I was from a small school; nobody really knew me, so
So you trained in this combine, and then Adidas is watching that. All the
MLS teams are there. The people from the league, I don't know.
And it's just a bunch of college players. You guys are training.
I think it's it's Aleko. I don't know if you know that. He's from the league.
Okay.
I think he picks the players for Generation Adidas.
Okay. So it doesn't matter where you get drafted though.
No.
But okay. So just because you're Generation Adidas doesn't mean you're going to be 1 through 3.
No.
Okay. Because your case, I
was 19th pick.
Okay.
Okay. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But then for the rest of these players that aren't with Generation Adidas, so they obviously sign, but they're not guaranteed a contract. They got to go into preseason. They still gotta prove their spot.
Yeah, I mean they don't sign anything. They just get drafted, usually you always get a preseason with the first team.
Yeah.
And then most of them sign with the second team unless you really do well,
Yeah.
But I feel like it's super hard.
It is hard, especially because so in my experience when I was in New York, the first year I was there, they had the draft. This was in 2019. And they only signed one of them, and it was a goalkeeper, Luis Barraza. He was a good player, and the coach liked him. He was a Spanish coach.
Mm-hmm.
The second year I was there, a new coach was in, a European, and he could care less about the college draft.
Really?
Yeah, like they came in, and I don't even think they had like a fair shot.
Wow.
Like I think it depends on the mentality of the coach. I think American coaches will value them,
they
and
value
they'll
it
like,
more than
I'll take a college player.
The South American
I think the South American and the European coaches,
they don't really know too
like,
much.
They don't know
about
too much
bro.
about it. They're like, what is this college? Like what is this? What is this? And
Yeah,
then
of course.
Like this isn't
This is not the way the rest of the world does it.
Yeah, of course.
What are we doing here?
This isn't a 16-year-old from our academy that's
academy.
coming up for the first team.
No,
This is a 23-year-old that's coming from a college team.
Yeah,
Like,
they don't
what-
they don't value
it.
college
They don't
players that
value
much
it.
as compared to academy players.
So
bro.
it's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, it's
I feel
hard,
like, for
bro.
these college. I feel like it's rough coming out of the college.
Yeah,
Not that
yeah.
it's impossible because you have a
No,
lot of
no,
players
yeah.
that make good careers in MLS coming
Exactly.
out of college, but it's different. So you have that security though when you sign Generation D.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you're
I guess so.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how long are those contracts for?
Everyone's is different.
Oh, everyone's
bro.
different.
Everyone,
Everyone's
There's
different.
no, yeah.
But minimum 1 year, and then it could be up to
Yeah.
like 5 years maybe if something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the club obviously knows that when they draft you, how long.
Yeah,
how
yeah, they
much
know.
contract you have.
Yeah,
So they know what they're
They
getting
know,
into.
yeah, that you have
Yeah.
a Generation Adidas.
But like
and
you
all
said,
that.
it's really low risk for them because they're not.
They're
it's
not the
coming
ones
out of their budget.
exactly.
It's not coming out of their budget. Yeah.
And I don't think you take a roster spot,
Yeah.
so it helps the
That's
player
big for
too.
MLS, yeah.
Oh, that is big.
So you know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's not risky for them.
It's not risky
It's
for
like
So is Adidas sponsoring you too?
no.
Oh, so what?
It's
Adidas-
not.
What?
It used to
What?
be. Yeah,
talking about
it used to
Generation
be
Adidas
like
picture
that.
it
It used
and-
to be like that, where each generation Adidas would get an automatic
Like Adidas
Adidas deal,
sponsorship.
but it's not like that anymore.
What?
No.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
bro.
I mean, how you gonna draft me and not give me some
That's
boots
weird.
or something, bro? That's crazy. So Adidas is not sponsoring you.
No, bro.
What was the that combine? I've watched the combine. I watched some of the combine on TV. I don't even know if they still do that anymore. But what was the combine process like for you? And to piggyback off that, do you feel like it was a good gauge to assess players in terms of either how good they will be or like where, or is the draft kind of just kind of like just kind of a crapshoot?
Well, there's like 40-something players usually that go, and it's the best players from everywhere, like players from Stanford, Duke, UNC, all these big schools.
Yeah.
So, I feel like if you have a good combine, you have a good chance of getting drafted.
Yeah.
So I feel like it really.
So it does help. It does
Yeah,
help.
yeah, for sure, because all
You think it's a good gauge then?
yeah, for sure, because some of these, most of the players are from big schools, but there's a player from a small school, you don't get seen that much. So I feel like, and every MLS coach is there. So if you do good,
all the head coaches are there.
no,
So it's
not
not
all
just
the head
scouts.
coaches,
Oh,
but the scouts.
The scouts
yeah,
are from the teams, yeah.
or assistants,
Or the sporting directors or something.
crazy,
Yeah.
So
And do you have like interview processes with these clubs too? Like where they interview you?
when you're there, these teams can ask to have an interview with you. And
Okay.
I had an interview too there with
Who did you
Toronto.
have? With Toronto?
And after the combine, when I went back home, I had a couple Zoom meetings
Okay.
too.
How did those interviews go? What do they ask you? What's up, Eric? Like,
Yeah, like, just ask me some questions.
just ask you like see how you'd fit in maybe into
exactly,
the program.
yeah.
Yeah.
So not like the NFL questions where they ask you like the most random things. It's all kind of.
What do they
relevant
ask you in
to-
the NFL?
Oh, they ask you. I mean, it depends on who you are. If you have like a history of like
Oh, like
getting in trouble,
getting
they'll
in
ask you
trouble.
specifics
Oh, yeah,
about
yeah,
that,
Nah.
or
yeah.
they'll if just stuff like that. Like they'll
Seeing
ask
what they're-
personal
what they're getting
questions.
into? Yeah.
Well, they'll ask questions to try to like trip you up to then see how on your feet you can be in terms of
Yeah.
thinking on your feet and stuff like that. The NFL is weird when it comes to that kind of stuff, but they've also been doing it for a long time, and that's the main mechanism to become a pro.
Maybe
so.
the MLS will get to that point one day where they start doing those kind of.
But I feel like the football players are super famous already. Like they're super
Yeah,
known,
you're
you know,
right,
compared
yeah,
to no
compared
one
to
knows
college-
about
no one-
soccer
yeah,
players.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
College soccer players.
different.
Yeah,
So
it
they
is
can only
different.
focus
It is
on
different.
the actual play.
Soccer-based stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
No,
makes
you're
sense.
right.
You know what I mean?
You see crazy stuff with college football players,
Yeah. Bro.
like of them getting in trouble.
even
like,
basketball players too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
Oh yeah, even basketball.
Basketball
Did you watch the Johnny Manziel documentary on
No.
Netflix? You have to watch that, man. That guy was in. Eric, did you see that?
I have
Johnny Football.
I've seen him on different podcasts, but I have not seen him. I don't.
It's on-
Do you know his story though?
It's on
Like,
Netflix.
Oh, I know the
relatively?
story.
You know the
yeah,
story?
I know
Yeah.
the story. Yeah.
Bro, it's on
Netflix?
Netflix. That you know who Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel.
No, bro, I don't know who that is.
Bro, this guy was like the name. He was like the guy in college football. Still to this day, like he was just crazy good player. But like the craziest dude. Like talking about parties.
Oh,
Like
really?
he was just running stuff. Like especially in the school that he went to in Texas A&M.
Mhm.
And his story's insane. Like how
Really?
he was like making money on the side. Like he was signing jerseys and he was bringing in like tons
This
of
dude
money.
was hustling.
He was
That's
he was
crazy.
hustling.
and
Hustling.
he had the hustle mentality, but he also came from a family with a ton of money,
Yeah.
and so he didn't even need to. In all
Wow.
likelihood, he didn't even need to.
Yeah.
But
And
ultimately,
he would talk about stories, but he'd be like, man, I would have like a walk through one morning for practice. I'd be out like till like 6 a.m. I'd go into that walkthrough like drunk, like reeking of alcohol. I go through that walkthrough. Next day, play a game and like lights out. Like he's amazing in the game.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. You had to see that. But that's a whole different level. That college football scene is a whole different level compared to college soccer. So I mean, yeah, who knows? You're right. If they get to a point like that where they got to ask serious questions. I feel like college soccer players aren't getting into too much trouble.
Nah, I think
they're. I think they're pretty.
It's pretty chill.
They're pretty chill.
Yeah,
they're pretty chill. It's definitely different. Man, that's interesting.
So wait, talk about the night you got drafted. How did that all go down? Like,
yeah. Is your agent? Is it something your agent calls you like, hey, you're about to get drafted, or no?
Nah, bro. I think that's some like NBA stuff, bro. I don't work like that. Nah, bro. The thing is, I never had a meeting with Atlanta. Like, I didn't have any interview with them, so it was like a shock. Oh,
so you were shocked that they.
And it's kind of like you get nervous when each like number keeps
going. Yeah.
And I don't hear my name, and I'm like, oh wow. And at the time, I had all my family friends in the room. So they're just patiently waiting, bro.
I did see a video. Yeah, I did see a video.
Yeah, it was on Zoom because of COVID.
Okay, so you're at home in Stockton.
Yeah. Okay. So I invited all my friends and stuff. So I was kind of getting nervous because the numbers kept
16,
taking nothing,
17,
and I'm like,
18,
what the heck? And
but
then
so you expected to get drafted by someone.
Yeah.
Do you knew you were Generation Adidas though?
Yeah. You signed it before the draft,
okay.
bro.
And as the Generation Adidas, you were like, okay, well, I'm definitely getting drafted. Or
because I don't think there's
it wasn't hand in
I don't
hand.
think there's ever been.
Has there ever been a player that's signed Adidas?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. Yeah, why would that?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, once I heard with the 19th pick from University of Pacific, everyone started going crazy in the room, bro. Crazy.
Everyone's family's like, man, it couldn't have been any farther.
Crazy, I know, man.
It couldn't be any farther unless you're like up in like New York City or something like that.
It's crazy though. Yeah. One of the best days for me and my family.
Everyone was just going crazy.
Yeah, bro. It's tight, man.
Yeah, it's nice. So I'm sure because you guys are Mexicans, you guys had a good party too.
Yeah. We had food after.
Food,
and it's because Stockton's like a small city, so like not much people like make it from there, you know what I mean? So it's like a big deal. And I remember that day, bro, I went to the gym with my brother, and you know there's TVs on the gym, right?
Yeah.
I see myself at the I was like, bro, that's crazy, bro. It's crazy. I was all over the
There's like a nice girl working out next to you.
Like, I was
look, I'm on there on the
I know, bro. I was like, wow,
right
bro, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Stuff
Did you have to pinch yourself and remind yourself that, or well, I guess not remind yourself, but at this point tell yourself, I'm a professional soccer player? Like, did that hit you in that moment, or did it take a while?
No, it didn't really hit me right at that moment, no.
And so you arrive in Atlanta. I assume you're staying in a hotel at this point.
Yeah,
in a
hotel.
But your experience is different than other college players, because other college players would stay at a hotel until they sign a contract, and then they focus on, okay, where am I going to live? But you're like, you're going to be in Atlanta you're going to be in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you're going through preseason, but like talk me through how preseason is going. Like, you're coming from not a small school, a smaller school in California, training with college guys, and then like boom, you're thrown into a preseason mix with first team Atlanta United players.
No, yeah, bro, it's a big switch, and you go from playing against college players, which obviously the level ain't bad, they're still good players.
Yeah.
But you go from that to training with like Brad Guzan, Miles Robinson, Joseph Martinez. I'm like, what the heck? It's crazy, bro. Yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah.
So.
And these guys, are they pretty cool with you? Like when they see you, like locker room, hey, what's up, man? Like, are they pretty cool? Or the college guys kind of just like, they're kind of like,
you know what? I'm a quiet and shy person, so I was more like, I didn't
like
really talk to
yourself.
anyone. Yeah. But some of them, bro, not most of them, bro. Nah, bro.
It can be.
I mean, you
that,
probably know how it is, bro. Being a younger player.
Being a younger player, yeah.
Yeah.
For the most part, it was just
you feel uncomfortable at first, bro.
You don't speak unless you're spoken to. At that point,
yeah, exactly, bro.
Yeah, I remember one time too. I was, so you kind of sit, you have your dinners and your team lunches or whatever. So you're kind of just like feeling the vibe. Like, okay, where am I going to sit? I'm not going to sit on this table with all the guys that, established pros, been there for a long time. And I remember one time I sat down in preseason. We were in Dubai with New York City. And then like the captain of the team sits across from me. And then one of like our main center backs sits like right here next to me. And my heart just drops. I'm like, man, why are these guys
couldn't even be comfortable anymore? You're like,
because I feel like everything I'm gonna do.
No, everyone's looking at you, bro. Yeah, bro, that's how it be, man.
They're waiting to say something. I'm like, man, I'd rather be with like the academy
younger players,
the academy players that they bring up for preseason.
Bro.
Like, I don't want to sit with you guys, like
so true, bro.
Chopping it up with them.
No, yeah, because when I went to Mexico, we went to preseason to Mexico. I felt like that too, bro. Where I would sit somewhere. And I feel like people like unwanted, like what are you doing here? Like sitting in this table, bro.
Yeah, so. It's tough. That's what I mean. You're thrown out there with the wolves, bro.
No, bro. Fight. It's not easy, bro.
Who was the coach when they drafted you?
Gonzalo Pineda.
It was Gonzalo at the time.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
It was fine, man. I didn't really, I didn't really
you have
speak
like
to
any
him.
conversations?
I spoke
with
to
him?
him maybe twice.
Maybe twice. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's some coaches can. So in my experience, I remember one time I was in preseason in New York City, and like me and like 6 or 7 other players, like some that had just signed, and then some other college players, they put us in a meeting, and it was the assistant coach came in the room, and he was like, hey, obviously preseason's winding down. It's all, fun and games, haha, but eventually like the real part of the season's about to hit where, we're going to play games, rosters are going to come out, people are going to be left off. Preseason, everyone plays. Like, it's pretty comfortable for everyone because everyone's a part of it.
Playing.
But then once that season hits, the coach is going to have to make some decisions about, okay, these are my 11 guys starting. These are my 7 on the bench. And then the rest of these guys got to try to fight for a spot to get on the bench or, rotating, or maybe you're just out of the squad completely, whatever it might be. So the assistant coach comes into the meeting room and he's like, hey, everything's good, but season's about to start. It's about to get real. We just want to let you guys know, like, if you're having any problems throughout the season, like, you can't go to Dome at the time. He was like, you can't go to Dome and speak to him. Like, if you have a problem, like, you need to come to me. I'll bring it up to the coach, and then from there we go. But, like, you can't go directly to him and speak. I remember being like, man, I kept being taken aback. I was like, man, you can't even, something's going on. Like, hey, coach, like, what's going on? Like, I'm not playing. I can't go to him directly. I got to go to assistant.
Layers on layers.
Yeah, it can be like that. You have some coaches that'll be completely different. They'll, like, wrap their arm around you. Hey, what's up? What's up,
like
Eric? How you doing?
Coaches.
Like, you player coaches.
Yeah,
and then you have some coaches that are just distanced like that.
Yeah, bro.
Got to be able to deal with the different.
And
different
can't really like take it personal.
Yeah,
what I mean?
you can't. And I mean, yeah, it can be tough like that too, especially when you don't have like not even a good relationship with the coach, but if a coach isn't really like hands on like that, you're kind of like, okay, I've only spoken to him like once or twice. How does he feel about me? But yeah, I mean that can definitely be tough. And then so you made that transition. So you're with the first team for a little bit, and then now you made the transition a little bit to the second team, playing a lot of games and stuff like that.
Yeah, once the season started, he spoke to me, told me I was gonna go on the season loan.
Yeah.
So
they have to technically loan you.
Yeah, they have to loan me.
They have to loan you to the second team.
I'm not sure how it works, but I don't think they saw me playing with the first team, so they just it was a full season loan to the second team.
And how's your mentality at that point? Because it's like kind of like a punch in the gut. You're kind of like,
yeah,
like I'm not gonna get a chance with the first team, or it's like it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it was gonna be hard, bro, because Atlanta's a big team.
Yeah.
But at first I didn't see it too bad as a negative because I was like, oh, I'm still young. I'm gonna get better.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So.
I mean, it's still a competitive environment.
No, yeah. And at that point, it was in the USL Championship. That
first
year.
You're right. Yeah.
So it's still like grown men, some veterans there. Like
it's
good level, bro.
Did I must have played against you then in you were 2022 when I played with McAllen.
Were you
we
RGV?
Beat you guys, RGV, yeah.
Nah, we didn't play. Actually, we did.
Yeah,
I think we did play. It was when we played at home at our place.
When the field was horrible.
Yeah. There's always a part in the season where the fields are
because
bad,
I like the weeks before, I saw the field amazing.
Perfect, bro. Usually it's perfect. The grass is beautiful.
I mean, probably because that year you played there. Sometimes the USL you're playing on just horrible
turf
pitches,
and stuff,
baseball
bro.
fields, bad pitches. I remember being like, we're gonna go to Atlanta. It's my hometown. It's gonna be a good pitch.
Super nice.
And then we get there and it was just like sand. It was like playing. It's like they had some was it graduation? They had something.
I don't know, bro. It was like sand and stuff, right? It was bad, bro.
Yeah, and then I remember we played you guys that game. I think we won. We came back. We were beating you guys, and you guys came back, and then we came back at the end.
I do remember playing you guys. Now I think about it.
I remember that game. You guys had some. We had some
ballers, bro.
Good players.
Yeah, we had some ballers.
You guys had some good players. But no, it's definitely a good level. But then obviously, there's a point where you got to make their transition to be like, okay, I can't be playing MLS next for 5-6 years. Eventually, you're gonna make that transition. Hopefully with the first team with Atlanta or USL or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have any kind of conversation with you about being loaned out, or was it just kind of like just strictly business? And
no, yeah, I had a conversation with Gonzalo.
Yeah. Was there like a this is the things you need to work? You don't need to specifically say, but did they have like a either a checklist or not a checklist, but like a conversation about like the things that you needed to improve on or maybe develop more, or was there that kind of a conversation?
I think it was kind of just the ordinary. Oh, you're still young. We want you to improve. Like the basic,
Just the basic stuff.
Yeah.
Pretty short conversation.
Yeah, not too long.
And so would you then? Where at that point you're strictly training with the second team too.
Yeah, I would train with the first team here
you're
and
still here
there
and there.
sometimes, but
And they
mainly
give you
with
numbers
the
or
with the
something like that?
mainly with the second team.
Yeah. Yeah, it can be tough, especially in those MLS environments when you have a roster of a lot of good players. The tough part, too, is when you're on that fringe, too, is that even when you're training with the first team, like, let's say, like, and I experienced it, too, in my case, if you're doing 11v11, you're kind of out of the mix, sometimes where it's like,
You're like
the whole
on the
team's
side
doing
and
11v11,
stuff.
and then
You're right,
like 3
bro.
or 4 guys are on the sides, bro. That's
Yeah, I've experienced that, bro.
That is the worst
Yeah.
feeling because it's just like, man, like, okay, first of all, I'm not playing in a game, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the chance that you haven't practiced
You
playing
can't even get a
games,
chance
you can't
at
even
training,
get a
bro.
chance, and you're
It's
just
true, bro.
you're just out on the side,
No, yeah.
playing 1-2s with the fitness coach, like trying to get
Bro,
fitness
it's so
right,
true, bro.
That is the toughest thing I think a player can go through when you're doing something like that. That's tough when you're like even in practice you're not getting reps and you're like, man, even in practice I'm not
Can't
getting
even do anything about
can't
it,
even
man.
do anything. And then like someone gets injured in a training and they're like, oh, you gotta come on the field.
Yeah,
Then you come on the
hurry
field.
up,
You
not
kind
even
of hurry
warm.
up, not even warm anything, and then you make a mistake and you're like, and the coach is like, see, this is why we don't even miss practice, man. Nah, it's tough. Yeah, that can be tough. So you've had the experience of playing in the USL and then or not playing in the USL, but being in that USL environment, and then playing in the MLS environment as well. What would you say would be two differences? Obviously USL time was short. Academy to academy contract and seeing that environment though. But what would you say would?
No,
be
but I did play USL with Atlanta. The two.
Okay, yeah, well, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
So even the
so-
competition that you played, what would you say would be the key differences or?
Bro, honestly, the probably the physicality.
Yeah,
You're like
the
grown
MLS
man,
is-
bro.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And honestly, I think there's some players in the USL that are better than some MLS players,
Yeah.
bro. Trust me.
I know. Yeah.
I know you know too. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So
Yeah, I know
it's
what you
crazy,
mean.
bro.
It is crazy. But the thing, the
Oh,
problem is
Another
that,
big difference is too the atmosphere. Like some of the USL teams have a lot of like good crowd and stuff.
yeah.
Like, you go to
Some
Detroit,
of
bro.
them, yeah. Oh,
You go to
yeah,
Detroit,
bro.
people are throwing smoke bombs,
Detroit
talking
crazy.
crap
Detroit-
about you,
Detroit-
bro.
Detroit City FC, yeah,
I'm like, I remember when we played against Oakland Roots, bro. Because I'm always on the side. I'm a winger, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
bro, all these fans are talking, to
Yeah.
me. And I'm like, bro, chill. I was born here, bro. And they don't even know talking shit about me, bro. Yeah, bro.
No,
yeah.
Detroit does have a crazy atmosphere.
Yeah,
I remember-
of the
Detroit was
USL
crazy
teams-
too.
I remember seeing the U.S. I think they won a U.S. Open Cup game and everyone was going
Oh,
crazy because
that-
they wanted
they
to
had-
go far.
Bro.
But they had a crazy run that year.
Yeah,
They beat
yeah,
Columbus.
yeah.
They beat Columbus.
You
They had a
seen
crazy-
this last year? I think it was Sacramento Republic made it to the final of the Open
Yeah,
Cup, bro.
yeah, they
Beat
did.
like 2 or 3 MLS teams, bro. It just shows like
Sacramento has a good atmosphere too.
no, yeah, they've
but
always
but
been
no,
good.
I want to touch into that. What
Were
you
you
said.
like super proud of Sacramento Republic?
Yeah, I was
You're
going
like-
for that.
But no, I want to touch back into what you said that because I feel like the thing is too is that a lot of USL players there is a lot of talent in the USL, but they don't get the respect or the acknowledgement from MLS. It's really, really hard. Like you rarely see a USL player make that jump from USL to MLS. They'll either go from USL to Europe to like a Norway or a Sweden or a Denmark than to go to MLS because the MLS doesn't look at
give
the
them-
USL.
yeah,
they
yeah,
don't,
yeah.
They don't look at
Unless you're a young player
unless you're a young player, but even like
playing
I've,
really well and
I've
stuff.
seen in the past like a guy kill it in the USL and he'll go to an MLS team and he'll sign like let's say a 2-3 year contract with an MLS team and that same year he signs that contract he's getting loaned back down to the USL.
Yeah,
And then
it's
maybe
hard,
know
bro.
it's tough. And I don't know what the reason is. I feel like these MLS teams don't value a lot of USL players, or maybe they just look down in the league and they're like, I don't really want players from this. But there's definitely is a lot of talent in the USL, and it's tough too because in MLS too, you're in an environment where the pay is good.
Yeah.
The resources that they have as far as like the trainers, the facilities, the food, the chefs, the travel, charter, all
Top.
that kind of thing is top.
Yeah.
Great. And then you go to the USL, and it's a whole nother world. You're talking about like Dubai, and you're talking about like Oakland. Like you're in Dubai, and then you're in Oakland.
Yeah, that's true,
and,
bro.
and in the USL, it's a grind. It is
yeah.
it is a freaking grind in the USL, and it's tough because you have good players, and they're grinding out.
Yeah, bro.
That's what it's supposed to be though. It's
It is.
supposed to not weed out, but it's supposed to like bring the cream to like the what is it? The cream rises to the top, and you're supposed to grab from that select group of players.
But even if you look at like in European leagues, like the difference in level between Premier League and Championship, as far as the players, you're gonna have good players in the Championship, but like the resources, the facilities, like all that thing is not gonna be that much of a
You're
drop.
right.
The pay,
Yeah.
of course, the pay is gonna be better in the Premier League.
What I will say is that they have that history behind them.
Of course, they have a lot more time.
We also have an American culture where the minor leagues, whether you want to call it that or not, the minor league system
don't-
of soccer,
yeah,
they
yeah,
just
yeah.
don't get the same
It-
sort
yeah.
of treatment.
It's
That's
tough. And I hope in the next 15, 20 years it's going to be different. Because, like I said, there are a lot of really good players in the USL, and they're getting criminally underpaid.
Is it the USL or just USL?
It's the United Soccer League.
I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want to get people saying the MLS. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no. I don't even. I mean, I played the USL for 3 years. And I don't even know. It's one or the other. The USL. I know that it's the MLS. Whatever.
No, it's not the MLS.
It's just not the MLS?
It's just MLS.
Oh, it's just MLS.
The Major League Soccer or just Major League Soccer?
I've always thought it was the Major League Soccer.
No, it's Major League Soccer. That's it.
Does it even matter?
To some people it does. You'd be surprised how many people freak out about that. The funny thing is, though, MLS's official site is mlssoccer.com, which is Major League Soccer.com. Funniest thing in the world.
Nah, it's funny. But no. Yeah, that's. I agree with your point. There are a lot of really good players in the USL. So would you say like one of your dreams is to go back to Sacramento Republic? You for sure have that in the back of your head.
No, good environment. Playing back home, my family and friends could come watch for sure, bro.
Because their team is solid.
No, yeah, they have a good fan base, nice stadium.
Nice stadium. They're trying to go MLS.
They were, bro. They were going to get MLS, but COVID happened, and it just messed everything up for Sacramento Republic. Because they already had announced it and everything, bro.
They have a nice stadium. They have.
I'm trying to remember why they had
I think St. Louis got it after, because their main investor left when COVID happened.
Yeah,
so it just messed up everything.
Yeah. Because Sacramento, they have a good atmosphere. They have good coaches. I mean, that's got to be something that's in the back of your mind, maybe. Obviously you want to reach for the stars. And
I think not.
MLS,
not anytime soon,
yeah,
probably.
Say not now.
No, not now. But of course, that's got to be something that would be nice.
For sure,
at a point. Mm-hmm. Especially if you grew up in that academy system and then you never got the chance.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the thing is, after my college season, they wanted to sign me.
Oh, really?
But obviously, I've wanted to. So I signed GA. It's better than.
Well, the money would have been just.
Bro.
Yeah, with the US the money would have been a big difference. Bro. The money would have been a big difference, especially if you're a rookie going into a USL contract. I don't even want to know what that.
Can I ask you, just as someone who doesn't know? I mean, I know that there's a difference.
What are we talking about? Difference?
Well, just in generalities, you don't have to be specific. I don't want you to talk about your own personal salaries or anything like that. But
how much do you make, Eric?
the jumps between USL, MLS, or even from playing in Europe to coming back to MLS, or coming to MLS, not back to MLS, but coming to MLS. Those differences.
It's a pretty big jump. You'll have in the MLS, obviously they have the minimum. They have the minimum that you can make, and I don't know what it is now. It's probably $70,000 or $60,000.
I think they
just
changed
65 or 70, no?
It's
65 or 70.
I think when I was in MLS, it was 65, and I assumed it went up. So maybe, I don't know. Maybe
it goes up almost every year.
It probably goes up every year. Yeah, because the PA tries to keep pushing for every single time to get it up, and they should.
89, basically 90,000.
But I think that's for seniors. That's for
90 for
seniors.
seniors, 71.5 for reserve players.
That's what. Yeah. What about for rookie?
It would be 65, I think, or 70,
65?
71.
I would say it's 71.
It's
71.4, yeah.
That's what I thought. It should be right around 70. So I'll put it this way, Eric. 71 is a minimum for MLS, and I will say that. I will just say this: there's not a lot of players in the USL making 71,000.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I would say if you have a roster of 25 guys, maybe 4 or 5 of them could be making that. Maybe some of them will be making more. You have some USL.
I heard
clubs that will
some players making over 100K,
some,
bro, in the bigger teams.
USL?
In the bigger teams.
But I'm talking about this is only for one guy in the team or 2 guys in the team.
Okay.
Some players will get cashed out. Some
that have been in the league for a while.
Some players will get cashed out. But even then, we're still talking about over 100K, where you have a guy in the MLS that's making $4 million. Not saying that the level is comparable, because one, you have the MLS, you have the first division, and then one you have the second division. But I would just say that there's a big jump, and you will have some players getting just robbed in the USL. And I won't get into numbers. Maybe I will in the future get into numbers of players just getting disrespectful money.
Robbed
as in you cannot make a living and you're making this money. It's criminal. It's criminal.
Because my thought of the USL was it was always enough, because again, from my understanding, generally speaking, once you get signed to a USL team, and I think specifically USL team, I don't think any of the other teams or divisions below would do this, but there's a salary that would make it worth it if you didn't have any other option. Then they give you like a place to stay, or I don't know if they give you a place to stay, but they
do that.
They hook you up with it.
That's how they get around certain stuff. Is that they give you a place to stay, and they'll be like, "Listen, we're gonna give you a place to stay, so you don't have to worry about that, and then we'll get the salaries around it." But I don't want to touch into that too much right now. But yeah, they do different things to get around that, to be like, okay, hey, listen, we're not gonna pay you like a crazy salary, but we're giving you an apartment. Won't be an apartment on your own, but it'll be something.
Oh, you got roommates and everything.
Like have like a roommate and stuff like that, and then you got to fight for stuff like food and stuff like that. Like MLS, you got everything right there. You got the private chef, breakfast, lunch, dinner, travel. You're gonna be sitting in a middle seat on a plane.
The whole lane, you fall asleep on there, bro.
You're gonna in the MLS, you got a whole row to yourself where you just recline back, sitting back.
True, bro.
MLS, they got just certain games throughout the year. They got the wives and the kids flying with the team, on the, which is crazy. Because when I was there, that wasn't a thing, but I guess now it was. I was talking to an old teammate, and I guess like they went to a away trip to Austin, and they had like the wives and the kids on the flights. Like they flew out the whole.
That's pretty tight.
Is that just the charter flights? I wonder if that's just the charter flights.
That's the charter flights. Yeah.
Right.
No. This isn't a normal flight. This is a private flight. Charter.
No. Charter flights I would assume that would be the one that you could bring like your wives.
No. But I'm saying like every flight that the MLS players have now is
right. Charter. Yeah.
But I'm saying USL, it's different. You're just getting on a Delta airline. Not even Delta. Delta would be a good one. Maybe you're getting on American.
And I assume if
it's not Delta.
No.
Wow,
bro,
man.
you'll be if you get a Delta flight in the USL, you'll be like, man, this is nice.
Really, bro?
Are you getting?
Wow.
We're living large.
You're living. Nah, I should say that.
If it's close enough, I bet you just take a bus too.
You're not getting. Hey, that's a whole nother conversation right there. If it is within a 8 to 12 hour difference, you might be taking a bus. And after the game, you're taking a bus right back home, and they're not paying for an extra night for you to stay at the hotel. That's a whole nother topic. But no, I mean, it's not bad. You might be getting the thing about the USL too is that these cities, MLS is in major cities, right? So you got Atlanta, New York,
of course.
Los Angeles, major cities. USL, a lot of them are in Louisville, Kentucky, Tampa, Florida. I mean, these are decent ones. Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like these are smaller cities. So, flying out of them is more complicated. Maybe you gotta get on 2 flights. But it's like I said, the USL is a grind in that sense. But yeah.
Does Atlanta United give you? So where are you now? Your loan ended, or is it not ended yet?
I'm still with the second.
Yeah,
I've been mainly with the second team this whole time.
Why did I think your loan ended? I don't know why I thought the season was over.
Are you in your last year contract right now with Generation Adidas?
Of my guaranteed.
Last year guaranteed. And you have an option, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. How many option years do you have?
It's 2, I think. Yeah,
2 options? Oh, you have 2
options.
options.
2 options. Yeah.
So talk about now for a lot of players for a lot of people that might watch and they don't understand like how these option seasons work. So these options, club has to pick them up. You don't have say in it.
No. Yeah, it's always mainly. I mean, unless you're a big star.
Unless you're a big star, you have the option to stay.
Yeah, it's always the club that decides at the end of the season if they want to pick up your option or not.
So what's your mentality going into it? Like you're not like, okay, now I'm on my last year of my guaranteed contract. What's your mentality going into the season?
I think it can be kind of scary, and kind of stressful.
The uncertainty of the future.
Yeah, exactly. Because I don't know what I'm gonna do next year. I don't know where I'm gonna be. I don't know if I'm stay here. I don't know.
Of course, yeah.
But that's why I think this year is super important. To
show yourself.
Exactly, bro.
Because if it's hopefully it's here, but then if it's not here, you got to show yourself for other teams that
are
looking for the future. So yeah. It's definitely tough. Those if you sign like a guaranteed, 3-year deal, those first 2 years are nice. And then that 3rd year, you're going to a point where you're like, okay, where's the point where I start, discussing with the club about, hey, what's going on? Am I going to stay here? Do I need to start, maybe looking? So many even stuff too, because I'm assuming you got an apartment, you got stuff like that. So you're like,
bro,
what do I do with my lease? Like, you got
all my like furniture and stuff. It's like questions I've always had, and this is going to be my first time going through it because,
Yeah. But I mean, ultimately, it'll,
do they give you kind of like a timeline or anything, or it's just kind of like, well, when the season's over?
What I've always asked is like, so say you sign like a year lease with the apartment, right?
Yeah.
And in 6 months they're gonna loan you. Like what happens there?
It's tough.
Because I've never been through that, I've always the question I've always asked.
I've
I
been
wonder
through
what
that.
happens.
I've been through that in my career. So I had signed a lease to an apartment in the off season in New York. I signed the lease in like December, and I was in my last year contract. So I was gonna stay in that apartment for my last year, and basically, long story short, because I want to tell this story for another day, but basically, long story short, I get a call from the team, and they're basically like, hey, you need to find a move because I spoke to the coach. You're not gonna have any minutes here. It's probably best for you to find a move. So I find a loan move. But I'm still in this contract. So basically, you have options at that point. You can break your lease and you're just paying 2-3 months out of pocket just to break the lease, or you can try to find someone maybe that's joining the team or someone that that will take the lease. And so I got lucky that another player that was in the agency that I was working with was coming into the club, and he just took my apartment. So he took the apartment, he bought the furniture from me. So I got lucky, but it can be tough when you go from MLS to MLS. It's good because they help you
with that. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you, shouldn't the
league will
help you with that stuff, right?
The league will help you with like what they call it relocation stipends. They gave you money for that for moving, for hiring movers, for flying your stuff, your car, all that kind of stuff. They help you. But I was going into a situation where I was still technically an MLS player, and I was going to a USL club. So like at that point, I'm just kind of I have no help at that point. I just gotta make it work. So I got really lucky. So I got to save myself, a lot of money there. You're talking about like almost $6,000-$8,000 right there if you have to break the lease.
Bro.
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough. That's just one of the things.
How nice are these apartments they're setting you up in?
Bro, I think you're in New York, but you're in New York. You're in New York, where the rent's ridiculous.
How much were you paying there per month?
I was paying. So actually, I was pretty smart. I'm glad I did this. The first 2 years of my time there, I had a roommate.
Okay.
I had a roommate, Keem Parks. And so, we were both signed at the same time, and he was like, "Hey, man, would you want to share a 2-bedroom and we save money?" And I was like, "Yeah, for sure." Because if you're looking at a 1-bedroom and you're gonna want to get a nice one, you're not gonna want to live in Harlem and New York City where you're no space, washer and dry. You don't want to be in a bad area.
Live in a closet.
Yeah, you don't want to live in a closet. So what a lot of guys would do is they'd go to the opposite side of the Hudson, they go to New Jersey, and then you had nice apartments for cheaper, but you're still paying for a 2-bedroom we had, it was like $3,100. So you split it.
$1,550.
Yeah, $1,550. But he paid.
That's not as bad as I thought.
Yeah,
well, I guess that's New Jersey. It's not New York.
It's New Jersey though. So you're on the other side of the Hudson, but it's still a nice area. You're right on the Hudson. But then once you get your own apartment, like a 1-bedroom, let's say, you're paying at least $23,000
in New York.
In New York,
$2,300.
2,300. Sorry, what did I say?
23,000.
23,000. Live in the penthouse in Manhattan. No, 2,300. 2,300. You're paying 2,300. So yeah, I mean, you're talking about if you need to pay a 3-month termination, you're talking about more than $6,000 right there that you just gotta boom, and that's money just out the window. So that's tough. I mean, that's just one of the things you gotta deal with, as a professional player. I mean, it's the part that no one talks about though.
Yeah,
which is good.
Which
is why I wanted this, because then you can have these conversations because it's things that you have to go through. But ultimately, you go through it and then you keep making your way in your career. But yeah, I mean, thankfully the MLS has those things in place where they kind of help you out. Yeah. In the USL, it's
tough,
it's a little
right?
different. It's a little different because the USL, I'm talking about, they don't have these kind of things. The USL is not gonna give you some relocation money right there.
Exactly.
They're gonna be like, hey, you gotta figure it out. I've had teammates that have had to move. They had families, they had kids, and they got to move from Hartford last season that they were in to Oakland. I had a player that, oh man, he signed a 2-year deal, but then the first year went really bad and they just didn't want him anymore. So he got to move to Oakland. They had a baby and they had to move in the middle of the off season, drive all the way from Hartford to Oakland with a baby, with a newborn. At that point,
crazy far.
It's crazy far. It's tough. But I mean, that's just part of the game, man. Yeah, what can you do? If you don't like it, then stop playing. Ultimately, at the end of the day, but it's tough. It is tough. All those kind of aspects that you have to deal with professional soccer, all those kind of things behind the scenes. It can be tough.
So what's the current situation for you right now? You're injured. You came in hobbling around a little bit.
Yeah, man. I just had a game in Miami and got hurt 25 minutes in, sprained ankle. And this whole time that I've been in Atlanta, I've never got injured until on the weekend.
Of course, this is the year.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So,
well, at least it was this and not something more serious.
No,
right?
yeah, it should be 2-3 weeks. Not too bad.
Yeah. That's good. So now you guys are in we're in August now. So are you guys in the playoff position?
Not right now, but I think we will if we keep playing good.
If you keep playing good, then yeah. So you get into that playoff position and then I mean, ultimately, too, is the thing is that the farther that you go in playoffs and stuff like that, the better it is for everyone. It looks better for everyone.
Exactly, bro.
Because then you're on a team.
The team does good. Everyone, it's better for everyone.
Eats,
everyone eats,
eats,
bro.
You know?
Yeah,
That's the thing too. Is like when the team's
true,
doing
bro.
bad.
No one even looks your way,
No one
bro.
looks your way, and that's the tough part too.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is that not even no one looks your way from the outside, but from the inside it starts getting slimy. You know, people start defending for themselves. They gotta, like, oh man, like, you know,
Everyone's
teams
thinking
doing
about
bad.
number
Everyone's
one.
thinking about
Yeah.
themselves. And
Yeah.
so we're like, okay, where am I gonna go? How, you know, am I gonna resign here? Like, you know, if they don't want me, okay, then I gotta do well for myself so I can get another deal somewhere else. So it's tough. That's one of the things I learned in 2022 when I had a good coach, and he said that he was like, if we do well, everyone does well. I do well, you guys do well. It
It's
looks
true, bro.
good for
Yeah,
everyone.
yeah.
But if we do bad, we all look horrible. I'm gonna look horrible. You guys are gonna look horrible. Good luck finding another team if you don't stay here. Like, just straight up telling us that. He's like, listen, if you're not staying here, good luck finding another team because no one's gonna want you. You know, team's doing bad. So it's tough. It's tough to be on that bottom side of the table is. It's tough. It starts getting ugly at that point.
Mentally, was that a jump for you, having to go from the college atmosphere, not so much from the playing atmosphere, but from the how do I put it, like the business side of things, the business side of playing college soccer, the business side of playing club soccer, getting into the pros, and then having that shift mentally to the business side of being a professional soccer player. Did that take some adjustment, or did you just kind of roll into it?
Not really, because at the end of the day, you're still playing soccer. You know what I mean? I don't think, especially with the second team, there's not too much pressure. Obviously, you want to do well and stuff, but there's not as much pressure as playing for the first team. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ultimately, the first team, you gotta perform.
Yeah, bro.
Everyone has to perform. The
Everyone.
coaching, the players, everyone. And
Yeah,
if you don't
yeah.
perform, then you're out.
Exactly.
Because these MLS teams, it's different too, because obviously you don't have the relegation. Also, you don't have that factor into it.
It'd be crazy different if that was, bro.
When I was in Belgium, that relegation pressure is
Wow.
because
Yeah.
you're talking about too is like, in not that Belgium was a smaller league, but the team I was playing for was a little bit of a smaller club in Belgium. Belgium has a good reputable league, the first division, second division too. But I mean, sometimes even like if your team gets relegated, it can be where that club folds. Like, it can be where like not enough money's coming in. A lot of people having to get fired. Like, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. I mean, that's the nice thing about MLS. If a team does
No
bad,
relegation
no
and
relegation, no pressure. Maybe coaching change, player change, whatever it might be, but you're still guaranteed that spot.
And I feel
in
like
MLS.
also the fans here aren't as crazy as they are in other places.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the pressure's different in other places. Like you go to Mexico, crazy pressure.
Yeah.
Like Europe, pressure.
Yeah.
Like here in the U.S., it's not too much pressure.
So you haven't represented the Mexican youth national team?
No.
But you've represented the U.S.
Just the
national
U.S.
team.
Yeah, just the U.S.
Who was your 02? So you were in a World Cup year. You were U17 World Cup year.
Yeah, no, but I didn't go to that.
You were
no.
Who was in your age group? The 02s
Some
that went.
like Gio Reyna. Yeah,
Gio Reyna. You were that age group. Joe Scally.
Joe
Gio
Scally.
Reyna. Yeah.
Gianluca was.
How did they do in the World Cup? I'm trying to remember.
I think they were bad, bro.
They didn't do good?
No. I don't think they even made it out the group that year.
They didn't make
I
it
don't
out the
think
group?
so.
I'm trying to remember because I was teammates with Joe Scally for sure when he went to the U17 World Cup. I'm trying to remember if we like clowned him for not having a good World Cup. Because the year before,
he was my competition at the time, bro.
Joe Scally was?
Because I was playing right back at the time.
Yeah, Joe Scally, he's a monster, man.
He's huge, bro.
He's
He's
huge,
tall,
bro.
fat.
He's huge.
Tank, bro.
He's a tank. And bro, I remember training with that guy, and he was like 16. But
He was already like
he
a
was
man,
already a man,
yeah,
bro.
bro.
Like, beard, like tall, like
Yeah, bro.
that guy was a beast. But yeah, so that was cool because the year before that, the 00s, they had a good World Cup.
Like that the
With
Carlton and stuff. Yeah, they were good, right?
Chris Goslin, Josh Sargent, Tim Away.
Yeah.
They had a solid World Cup. Who was it wasn't Hack was your coach with the 17?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it was Hack. It was Hack.
Yeah, Hack was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you ever represent the Mexican youth national team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro.
Bro,
That's
they called you, you'd be
always
like-
been.
You know what's
that's
so-
like I think that for me, as a soccer player, that's the dream for
That's
me,
the
bro. Like hearing the national anthem, bro. Like oh my god.
You know
bro.
what's so funny is that you ask any Mexican American if they will represent Mexico, and it's like a heartbeat. Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
yes,
No doubter.
no doubt about it. It's crazy. You have and I remember when I was with the U14s. And we had a lot of Mexican guys in those teams with the youth national team for the United States, and we had a lot of Mexican guys on the team. We had Jonathan Gonzalez.
Oh yeah.
And so now he's with Mexico. But when we were U14s, we would joke around with him all the time because he'd be like, "Oh, Mexico's talking to me." And I'd be like, "Oh, would you go to Mexico?" They call. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'll go to Mexico right away." I'd be like, "Bro," come on, man.
That's funny,
come
bro.
on, man. You can't go to Mexico.
Man.
But Mexicans, they have a lot of pride for their country, and they'll
Yeah,
go right
bro.
away. Even if you were born here.
Yeah, I was born in
you were born
California,
here, but
yeah.
it's like you have a Mexican passport.
Yeah, I do.
Okay,
I just
so-
recently got it.
So you can.
Yeah,
Oh, so that'd be easy. It'd be so convenient
It'd
for
be
them to
so
do it.
Yeah, bro.
Just give 'em a,
That's
you
the
know,
dream, man.
Just give 'em a call.
Mexicans,
Be like, hey,
they
come on.
got it. They got it.
I
And, hey,
wish,
they're
bro.
struggling. They're struggling.
Yeah, I
too.
know.
They're struggling.
They're not as good as they used to, bro.
Yeah. The problem is that they don't have the youth coming up like the United States does. You know, we have.
And the thing is, bro, like even if there's good, like they bring up good young players from the academies, they want to sell those players super expensive to the European
and
teams.
it blocks their path to get there.
So yeah, and like those European teams will rather pay way less money for a Argentinian or Brazilian guy
Yeah.
for as good or better. You know what I mean? These
yeah.
Mexican teams, they charge too much money.
I think too is that the Mexican players. I mean, I could be ignorant when I say this. Maybe a lot of people get mad, but I feel like they also are a little bit complacent too, where they're okay with like
The
going
Mexican-
to Europe.
and that-
The
and
Mexican
why-
players,
The
they're-
Mexican players. I thought you meant the
And
Mexican
why that is
national
though,
team.
bro?
No.
And why that is because there's a lot of money in Mexico. So
There
they're
is.
like,
They
I'm gonna
get
make so
paid.
much money
They
here
get
in
a
Mexico.
bag,
My
and you're in
family's here,
Mexico,
and am I gonna go struggle
in
over
Europe,
here?
and be by myself and make less money.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah, I know.
You know.
And so that's the difference between the United States, though, is that the United States, they have players that are pushing, they're getting out
No,
there.
yeah.
Because it's also different. The MLS, they're not going to, an American player is not going to be as valued as much. So you can have, like, let's say a Christian Pulisic going through the rise of MLS, you know, he's going to be better off making that jump to Europe. He's going to start getting paid more rather than, I feel like, if he went through the system with the MLS.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, if he comes back, you know, we're talking about a whole different story. He's going to come back. He's going to make crazy money. But these Mexican players, they're going to be like, what's the point of me going
Bro,
out
because you look at the U17s, they're always good, bro.
They're always
Like
good.
they've won a World
Yeah.
Cup. They're always like one of
Yeah.
the best. So like, there's good young players, but
Yeah.
and I feel like it's hard for them to break in because there's so much foreigners too in the
In
Liga
the
MX. And I'm telling you, and when one does like do well, they want to charge too much money, so they just end up staying
Yeah.
in Mexico, and he doesn't. You know,
I mean, you have a lot of players that went up, that go up. Like Diego Lainez, he was supposed
Diego
to be,
Lainez
supposed
is
to be a big one.
one of them, and they didn't work
He
out.
was
I
in-
think he
was
left
in
too early,
Sevilla.
bro.
Where was he in
He
New
was
Spain?
in
Real Betis.
Real Betis.
Real Betis. But those players, those old heads, man, they did it. Like you're talking about Chicharito.
No, yeah, but
Rafa
we only have a
Marquez,
couple of those, bro. When you
Guardado.
really think about it, we only have a
there's
couple
a good
players.
amount, bro. That Mexican team in the past was good. I feel like
No,
you had a lot
yeah,
of good
like
players.
HH,
yes.
Tecatito.
Like these players, they did it,
Layun,
and they
all
made
those
it,
good
and
players.
that's why the Mexican team was
Were
in a
so-
good.
they were so good.
They were
yeah.
so
They were all
good.
playing in Europe.
But now, if I look at the Mexican starting lineup, starting 11, and I
Like-
click their names, I'm seeing Liga MX,
There's like two
all
or three
around,
that
all
play in
around.
Europe, bro.
all around, maybe 2 or 3. Whereas you're talking about the
Our
U.S. national
best, our
team,
best player right now is like Edson Alvarez, and he's
Yes.
at West Ham.
and he's at West Ham because he's at West Ham. But
Yeah,
you're talking about U.S. national team.
Nah,
Balogun,
everyone's-
Europe,
yeah.
Christian, Europe, Weah, Europe.
even Canada is better than Mexico right now, bro.
Canada has a good
Canada
team.
has a bunch of players in Europe too.
I'm surprised
They
at
have
how well
ballers.
they've
Canada's
just been on the rise, and for
Yeah,
how,
bro.
the quick timeline in which they've gone from to
Yeah.
oh man,
yeah.
it's been pretty impressive.
And a lot of people were mad that Jesse Marsh got that Canada job and he didn't get the U.S. job.
I heard people talk about that, but I'm also like the circumstances are way different.
For Jesse Marsh?
For
to have the Canada job?
Yeah, one,
Oh,
he doesn't
yeah,
have the
yeah.
pressure.
Yeah.
Second, I don't know that if he has a better team, but I don't think that I think the path, especially in Copa America, I think the path was a little bit easier
For Canada?
For Canada. I'm trying to think if that's true or not.
I
Hold
don't
on.
know, man.
Nah, you gotta give them their flowers, bro.
No, for sure. I
A
mean,
lot of
Jen-
people were just criticizing the way they played because they got like 0-0, like just really boring results.
yeah,
I
but
mean,
when
they
you
got
but
there,
the
bro.
thing is when you're Canada and you're going into Copa America, you just got to do what you got to do.
I
you know?
mean,
It's
the
not
U.S.
like,
we played Panama, we played Uruguay. Obviously, that's a tough game. But who was the other team in the group? Was it man? How am I blanking?
was it Bolivia?
Bolivia. It was Bolivia. Yeah, it was Bolivia.
Hold
I
on,
was about to say Belize, but I was like, I don't think Belize is in this tournament. No, it was Bolivia. It was Bolivia.
I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, it was Bolivia.
I mean, you go down against Panama, but at the same time, you got to get a result. You got to get a result. I was at that game. In
Oh, you
Atlanta.
did?
I was at that game. Yeah, that was a good game.
I
was
got invited to that game and I was like, nah, I'm good.
to the U.S. Well,
Well, that was the one
Panama
where
game?
Tim Weah was
Yeah.
got the
Yeah,
red
but you
card
couldn't have
25
known
minutes in,
that.
and I
You
was
couldn't
like,
have.
nah.
You couldn't have known that before the game happened to be like, oh, I'm good. I'm not gonna watch it. Tim Weah is gonna get a red card.
No, it wasn't so much that. It was.
You thought it was gonna be a blowout. Like it wasn't gonna be a good game.
No, I just honestly I didn't want to deal with the traffic, Atlanta traffic. Wait, it wasn't here. Was
It wasn't.
No,
No, it was
Wait,
Mercedes-Benz.
what was when
With
it
the
was?
Benz.
It was Argentina, Canada. That was the crazy
What
game.
was the U.S. men's national team that was here?
Argentina? I mean, U.S. Panama.
Yeah,
That was
I
when
didn't
Tim
wanna
Weah
do-
got the red
I've-
card. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was when Tim Weah got the red card.
I think. Did you hear? Did Jonathan invite me? Anyways, doesn't matter. Yeah, I don't go. So look, my background. I covered Atlanta United for like 7 years.
Oh, really?
Media, part of like the credentialed media group that covers the team. And so I got spoiled because I'd go to every game for free, sit in the press box. All the stuff that you guys get at the training grounds, we get it in the press box. So all the good food, all that good stuff. And so I got spoiled when it came to going to games because I always get free parking. I knew exactly
In
where
the
I was
red
sitting.
deck or where? Where would you park?
I think it was the gold deck for a while, and then it was eventually the red deck.
The
But
red
it was
deck.
super close.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
wasn't,
super
it wasn't,
close, bro.
It wasn't like it was super convenient, and it's gotten to the point now where I'm just super spoiled. I can't pay for tickets because I'm just like, I'm good.
I had it all.
And so I think his brother-in-law invited me to the game, and I was just like, do I want to sit in that traffic?
I know the traffic's annoying, bro.
Yeah.
It's annoying.
So I guess one of the things to wrap it up, one of the things that I want to end on with a lot of our players. So if you had to give some sort of advice to a younger player, let's say he's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, that has that dream of going pro, what would be one thing? Not multiple things even that you would say that would help them reach that dream of becoming pro, or what they should do.
I mean, everyone always says like hard work and stuff, but I would say like perseverance and like being patient, bro.
Yeah.
And sacrificing a lot, bro.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you need to sacrifice a lot to get there, to make it.
A lot.
Because obviously I sacrifice a lot. I mean, you probably have too. Like I remember in high school, I would see all my friends and people I grew up with like playing high school soccer, doing all those high school activities.
Yeah.
I never got to do that, bro, because I was over here playing in academy, always training. So I missed out on all that, but at the end of the day, it was all worth it. And it was sacrifices I had to make in order to make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, definitely a lot of sacrifice that you have to do behind the scenes. Family time, not being able to do what the other kids are doing. All that stuff is really important. So that's good. It's a good message out there. But perfect, man.
Thanks for coming in, man.
Yeah, thank you
Thanks
guys
for
for having
doing
me, man. I
Did you have
appreciate
fun?
it.
Hopefully it was fun for
it
you.
was cool
Fun for
little
us.
conversation.
Fun for you?
It was good.
Fun for you?
Yeah,
Fun for
man,
you?
of course.
Cool.
All right.
See you later, guys.
All right. Peace.
All right, man.